Greetings, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Danielle X here on National Network View. We're going to get ready for our interview. I'm having an interview today with Grandmaster Odette Russell. I'm honored. I'm nervous because she's so strong and so wise. So stand by here briefly, you all. While we wait for her to be able to join in. Hit the notification button below. Look at the comments. You want to add comments, go ahead and subscribe to National Network View as well. Again, we're going to wait for a few more moments, and then we'll be starting here shortly. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to wait here for her. She should be joining us here shortly. Thank you all for your patience. There she is. I see you. Yes, ma'am. There we go. You have time, you all, if you want to call your family and friends, text message, however you want to share this video as well. I want to have everyone in as she shares some wonderful information with us on this conversation. And there she is.
Well, that was a little dramatic. Let me tell you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
I was on at 4 o'clock trying to figure out how to get in. I'm like, oh my goodness. Hi.
Awesome. Hey, oh my God. Everyone who is watching this live, I want to be able to introduce to the world this wonderful woman. She works hard in the community. She takes her martial arts very serious, not just for her, but for the whole world. She wants every woman to be able to protect themselves. And in that, she's bringing awareness to human trafficking, organ harvesting, and much more. So I want to introduce you all to my friend, my sister, Grandmaster Odette Russell. Greetings.
Oh, it is such an honor to be here with you. And you are one of the hardest working women that I know in community services. I watch you sometimes on social media and I feel like I'm not doing enough. So, and you're the doer, not the talker. So you're my kind of person. I truly appreciate it. You don't look for, validation. You just do what you need to do. I also want to give a shout out to Chris Jane. I see you, baby. I love you. Anyway,
yes. So I want you to tell the world
okay,
a little bit about you, who you are, and what you do.
Okay, about me. My name is Grandmaster Odette Russell. I represent Swan Martial Arts Academy. Just so you know, if he start moving, just tell me to go, run, just run.
Yes.
Because he shouldn't be moving behind me. But I represent Swan Martial Arts Academy. I've trained under the system for over 40 years. The founder of the system, or one of the founders, is Cedar Abdul Mutakabir, who happens to also be my husband. So all that means is I had to work a lot harder, and I received no perks, if anything, minus the other students. Along with that, I have 4 degrees. The highest degree is a PhD in health psychology. I consider myself a behavioralist. I don't go by what people say, I go by what people do. I go by their actions, reactions, their body language, because that really tells the full end of the story. And that is an important part of being a martial artist, because it's important that we detect what people's intentions are before they actually do it, especially us as females that have a 50% higher chance of being attacked than a man. We want to be able to read people's intentions. Do they have a bad intention or good intentions in our interaction?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm going to go into that a little bit towards the end, when it's about, right now it's about a silent crime, a horrific crime, a crime that you know, it's being camouflaged by other issues like weather and political problems and diseases and vaccinations. And but yet, if we're talking about possibly 300 children being abducted per year, that's over 800 children per day.
Yes, ma'am.
So that means, like, you know, for here it's 4 o'clock. How many kids were already abducted? Probably maybe 400. You know,
Yes,
that has
ma'am.
already been taken. And I can imagine, and we're going to get into this in a few minutes with you and where you're located, that it's even higher this year, today, because when they have natural disasters, that's an
Yes.
opportunity to separate families, and people will never find their kids again or never find certain family members again.
Yes, ma'am.
So what we're talking about is human trafficking.
Yes.
And when we think about human trafficking, it actually existed thousands of years ago, when civilizations started when people started to group together and develop towns and cities and villages and whatever. There were the haves and the have-nots, and the haves always exploited the have-nots and
Yes,
had
ma'am.
them work for nothing, or had concubines and had more than one woman, would sell babies, would kidnap individuals, would basically force people to marry them. Those things did occurred. There was
Yes,
something else that happened. That's why human trafficking has really escalated to the level. So when we talk about what human trafficking is, and I just want to apologize, I'm going to be reading my notes, so just kind of, if you see me look down, that's because I want to make sure I get this stuff right. And
yes,
I'm
ma'am.
going to be honest with you, this stuff is so horrible. I don't memorize it. I don't want, you know, this stuff is so dark. But human trafficking, of course, is a crime, and it's basically exploiting another human for the purpose of either commercial sexual activities or forced labor.
I want you to repeat that again. Repeat what you just said
Okay.
again.
So human trafficking is a crime that exploits individuals for either exploits individuals for either sex trafficking or labor.
Yes, ma'am.
But there are other facets to human trafficking. And those facets are, of course, sex trafficking, and you know what that is. There's labor trafficking, which is slavery. There's forced marriage. There's kidnapping, selling babies, and there's something else called forced surrogacy. So what forced surrogacy is, when you kidnap a girl and you rape her till she gets pregnant, and then when she has the baby, first of all, the girl is no longer her own property. She's a property of whoever owns her, the organization that owns her, and so is her baby. So she will probably won't get to see the baby. She's just a breeder, which is very similar to slavery. So that's not even something that's that uncommon, you know, to what was happening to the population of the don't haves from the past. What they do to the baby will either be groom the baby for sexual activities when the baby gets a little older, or cut the baby up for body parts, which leads to this other segment called organ harvesting.
Before you go to that, Grandmaster, I'm thinking about, you mentioned about being a breeder, you know, and being taken in to have a baby, and then I deliver my child. A lot of that activity happens on Indian reservations that we don't know about.
Wow.
Not just thinking about the fact of what we went through in slavery.
Exactly.
We're going back to 1555, right? Gotta go back.
We're not talking
So
that long ago.
It's been going on. Yes, ma'am, but it's been going on for years. So those who have never heard this before, and you all are like, what? Why is Sister Danielle coming so strong and so hard with this conversation? Because you all don't understand what this is. This is $1 billion industry.
Yep.
They making money off of taking advantage of you and your children.
Yes.
So we have to make sure we keep our eyes open at all times to what's going on, because it's real. This is no no YouTube video. This is a live conversation you all are watching right now. Okay,
Yes,
I
this
want to
is
put that
not
out there.
TV, folks. This is real, and we're talking statistical facts. Now, I'm going
Yes.
to say things that might be conspiracy theory, and I'm going to say it's a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a possible conspiracy theory, but what I've mentioned so far are factual, and that's
Fact.
why I said human trafficking existed for thousands of years.
Yes, ma'am.
What makes it different is the organ harvesting.
Yes.
And that's what changes the playing field, where I believe why they need so many children or so many people are disappearing. The other thing about human trafficking is that no one is exempt, regardless what color you are, regardless how old you are, regardless how if they find an opportunity where they can snatch you up, they can use your organs.
Yes.
So if you could see this is a chart that
Yes.
you can see 2015 to 2019.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the growth of human trafficking, which they believe is because of this.
Yes. That
So,
chart looks very familiar.
yeah. So what's unfortunate about this is our lifestyle. We have a poor lifestyle. They call it the SAD diet, the standard American diet. It has a lot of chemicals, preservatives, toxins. We're a heavily medicated society. We get sick or we have a cold or a headache. We're quick to medicate ourselves. Our bodies are outliving our organs, specifically our detoxing organs like our liver and our kidneys. And so there's not enough organs available for people who need transplants unless you got deep pockets, and that's where this human trafficking does a great deal of business. The lungs can range from 170,000, the heart 160,000, kidney I guess is 62,000 each. The pancreas, they sell everything. So you just kind of keep that in mind. This changes the playing field, that you could be a strong man, but you're drunk in a bar and a trafficker sees that as an opportunity to, keep drinking until you pass out and put you in a van and drive you away, and you're never seen again by your family.
But look right here though. If you remember the incident with Kendrick, who was at school. Remember that incident?
Yes.
And he was thrown inside
the
mat in the gymnasium.
Yes.
Then Kanika, she was going to a party with her friends at a hotel, the Rosemont in Illinois, and her body was found in a freezer that was not in operation, by the way, down in the basement of a hotel, and she was missing her organs. Now, so again, you all, we're talking about human trafficking, prostitution, forced labor, forced marriages, most kidnappings and runaways, they say.
Oh, yes.
That falls under the human trafficking.
Yes.
We're talking
going to
about
go into that in a minute. One of the things, though, I wanted to bring to your attention is how well organized this operation is, which is the part that was terrifying. Okay.
Yes,
so when we're thinking of a trafficker, we're looking like a dingy looking, maybe foreign guy that's creepy, but a trafficker could be a child. A trafficker could be a teacher. Obviously they're in the medical field if they're able to cut out organs so these organs stay healthy. You understand? And I believe when that boy that they found in the bleacher, they removed his organs and threw him back in there. I don't believe they removed his organs there, because then you would have found blood.
Exactly.
And, so or they probably removed his organs in a van. You know what I'm saying? They probably had a very well specialized van, and he just happened to, so this is a well-organized situation, even with the sex trafficking, where, we're going to talk about different stories where people are drugged and they wake up and they're in a different state or a different country. That means that there are people in the airport security that works for them. We're talking about attorneys that work for them. People in the political arena works for them. People in the police force works for them. People in the churches work for them. So it's a well organized. That is why it's $1 billion industry, because human life to these individuals have no value. We are more valuable dead than alive. So now let's talk about some stats real quick, because I only mentioned the 300,000 children per year, which was 800 a day. And while we were talking, I think we talked 20 minutes, that might have been 10 kids already that were abducted from that time. But it's anticipated that the average pimp will make about 200,000 a year on one victim.
Yes, ma'am.
So you could imagine how motivated they are to keep their victim and to get more victims.
Because you know what, Grandmaster, when I was speaking to a sister here, I was counseling her about her experience, what she was going through, and she, you know, was kind of paranoid, in a sense. But she was telling me that when she was in captivity with the trafficker, she would mark down on her wall each time a trafficker, a buyer would come in that paid to, you know, to do what he do with her. She will mark on her wall. And
now, do me a favor. I tell that story all the time. Can you? So they only had her for 1 year. How long did they have her?
So she was there 2 years.
Okay.
But in that 1 year.
Story. That's what I needed to know. So she was how old when they got her?
16.
Okay, so they found her at 18 when she was rescued.
Yes.
Okay, so go on.
Yes. So she was marking down for that 1 year every time a person would come through her door.
So you're being nice about it. She's saying every time she got raped. Okay, not come through her door to say hi, you want something to eat. It is every time she was raped. So go on.
Every time they will mark on the wall. She would mark on the wall, 4,000 men came through her door in 1 year. So the trauma, the anxiety, the fear. I tell people all the time that when you're dealing with that kind of situation, you can't wash this stuff off like dirt and clay.
No.
That's on you.
It doesn't heal like a cut. That actually, your brain is rewired where you will never be the same. And this is interesting because there's shows that we've done where I'm not in the back end where I help the rescuers. I'm in the front end where I'm trying to prevent the occurrence to occur. That's where I am. I don't even know what to do with the back end because that needs heavy psychological where they're going to go and not only where they're going to go, who's going to take them, because there's there's danger for taking them, because you put yourself in the radar of these traffickers where they're going to go after you too. So it's like how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go. And you know, where if there's so many parameters of of people involved, you don't even know who to trust at some point.
I mean, you have lawyers coming through, you have senators coming through, you have police officers in uniform on their lunch breaks coming through. You have people you see on TV, and they always ask, well, why you don't go report to the police? They're not trying to go report to a person who just did it. They're gonna take them right back to the trafficker.
Oh yeah, and then their situation's even worse, and that's what it is. And it could just it might not even be a police officer. It might be someone dressed up like a police officer just to emulate that fear that there's nobody that she can go to help. But that's what it does. It's that slavery where it dehumanized this individual that even the rapist doesn't see himself as a rapist. He sees himself as what he's doing is he just receiving a service for what he's paying for. Anyway, so if I can move on with the stats, and then it's just so, like I said, this is very disturbing, and you have to be heartless not to think that this doesn't affect us, you know, as females or even as mothers, you know, or in my case, grandmother, because I got 3 beautiful grandchildren, right, Chris? Anyway, that's my daughter-in-law. 83% of sex trafficking victims in the United States are United States citizens. And that's that myth that the victims are from other countries, and they're not. They are our bred, homebred, grown Americans. Okay, these are our children, our neighbors, and that are being victimized this way. And just think, don't think, oh, this is not going to happen to my children, I'm not affected. If your neighbor is trafficked and she gets back home, she could be so damaged that she could create a problem to the community. I mean, this is a psychological thing that you don't think that can get fixed. This person might stay on drugs. This person might become a killer. This person, you know, and I'm not saying this is the case, but but you're ruining our society by destroying the mindset of our youth when you're enforcing this type of lifestyle on a lot of them. The other concerning is the age of 14, 15 is the age that the victim will most likely be lured. And that's interesting because we think we're so protective to our children that when they become teenagers and they're driving on their own and they're hanging out with their friends by themselves, we tend to give them their space. And that we need to do the opposite. We need to monitor them more. We need to communicate with them more. We need to interact with their friends' parents. We need to know who they interacted with online, who they're going to the movies with, what are they seeing, maybe even just pop up at the mall to see their interaction with their friends. We're going to go into that later. Okay, so I want to move on to what are the 5 traits that a trafficker looks for to pick their victim.
Before you do that, I want every person who's watching this. By the way, I want you all to understand you're joining into this conversation. I have Grandmaster Odette Russell. She's going to break down some information in regards to, we cover human trafficking a little bit. We kind of went over the idea of what organ harvesting is and what it looks like. And now she's going over statistics on what this look like on paper, right? Actual paper. So now we're going to go through vulnerable states. I want everyone to get a pen and paper and write this information down. Please write it down. Thank you.
So these are the traits, the 5 primary traits that a trafficker looks for to pick their victim. And the first one is vulnerability. So when a person is vulnerable, we're talking about a person that can disappear and not be missed. You understand? So they're easy. So we're talking about foster care, children or anybody from a broken home, an abused or neglected household, even handicapped. Now, you and I had a conversation of natural disasters, which is a great opportunity for people to be displaced or disappear. Do you mind sharing your story? I'm just going to turn the heater on while you're talking about that. It's cold in here. I'm in my dojo, which is in the basement. Go ahead.
That's good. So you all, her and I were conversing about natural disasters and how children come up missing, or even women and boys come up missing during natural disasters. Right now in Texas, if you all have been watching the news, it's been categorized as a natural disaster. The weather here was like amazingly cold. And in my house, it was 7 degrees in my home. Outside, it was 3 degrees on Tuesday night. Now, with that, there's many people who don't have nowhere to go. They're going to shelters, they're going to warming stations, they're going places to get some kind of heat, even hotels, who are very prime in human trafficking. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. They're the biggest enterprises of this activity. They're very hush mode about it, and they see it happening and say nothing. But anyway, I was going over with her in regards to Katrina. We seen when we went to go help out with the survivors of the hurricane, we saw people coming on buses. Say, for example, Grandmaster, you and I, mother and daughter. I get on the bus to go on bus number 1. They force you to go on bus number 2 because bus number 1 is full, right? Then they put you on bus number 2. That bus went to LA. Bus number 1 went to Arizona. So we were split, right? Never seen again, can't find them, right? Just imagine. Then we had went downtown Dallas and we were going through and helping them sort clothes out, shoes, and put everything in piles. Lo and behold, there was a stage under the breezeway. And there was a man with a microphone, button-up shirt, got a microphone. I got a family of 3, a mother and two daughters, brown eyes, brown hair. Look familiar? Mother strong, stand, long hair, natural hair. They have nowhere to
They
go.
said all that?
Does any family, does anyone out here in the audience want to take them in and live with them? So you have families. You have families out there who were taking in these people who have nowhere to go, no food to eat, who were going homeless. The people were coming and taking them into their home, and that turned into human trafficking, sex trafficking, prostitution, organ harvesting right in front of our face, right? The believers see this happening, but at the time, for me, it didn't really click.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so again, it happened so openly in front of us, and we have no idea that we're being taken. And they come with a very keen, a very nice and slick manner. And oh, I have warm food for you, and I have housing for you, and I have clothes for you, and I take care of your daughter for you. Go find you a job and go get stable and get your life together. I'm gonna keep your daughter, your son with me. Really. But the mother had no choice in her mind.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's an example. Again, when you're dealing with natural disasters, how people are separated, even in shelters. Women are molested in there all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sex trafficking goes on in shelters, not all, but many, a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So when you're displaced, not really sure what to do, hungry, naked and outdoors, you do things to be able to survive, not knowing you're being taken into a world that you cannot get out of that easy.
And let's not even say that it's like a real National Guard, but individuals who have access to their uniforms
Yes.
and have access to vehicles that
Yes.
drive up to say, come in here, we'll take care of you. And then they, next thing you know, that these people are never seen again. And like I said, there's no discrimination to your organs. Your organs are still going to cost, they're going to make some money off of it. So that was actually crazy that I heard that, that we hear that, because that is like so blatant. But that's the first trait. So you can see the validity
Vulnerable.
of being vulnerable.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
second trait is the forgotten. Those are the individuals like the homeless, society rejects, or the runaways. Like you had mentioned, the runaways, and they will be reached. They could be actually lured to 48 hours after they run away. They will be approached by a trafficker.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
After a person runs away, it'll probably take as long as, it might not even be that long, 48 hours before they are approached by a trafficker.
Yes, ma'am.
And they know where these kids are going to go. They know what they look like. They have all these bags. They look like disgruntled or just kind of confused of where they need to go.
Yes.
And they usually have no money. And just always remember, a hungry child will do anything for food.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything for
Absolutely.
food.
Absolutely.
The third trait is the not supervised. Now, these are really good parents. They just are overwhelmed. Maybe they have 2 jobs or a lot going on, and they are not going to monitor every activity the child is doing. The child might be at the mall, and they think their child's at a friend's house, or their child might be in the movies, or the child might be skipping school. They don't know the activities that's going on the internet activities. And a lot of times the trafficker is very patient. Yes. Because they'll put months into a person to lure them into until they have that moment of opportunity to snatch them. Even to the point that they are trafficking children that still are at home. And I know that sounds crazy, but they will take the child, the mother thinks the child's going to school, but they're actually taking them to a hotel, and they'll give the child a little bit of money. The child's compliant because the child has been groomed. This person has been groomed that this is what they need to do. Not to tell anybody, not to share it. And then they take them home just like they were in school. And during big events like the Super Bowl or something, you'll have busloads of children that are going to these hotels to the back room for these, and I call them predators, or these pedophiles.
Yes, ma'am. And that even deals with dance rehearsal, piano classes,
Yes.
football practice, track practice. Your child is unattended. You mentioned supervised. Social media, supervised. We're allowing the children just to do whatever they want to do. Oh my God, I gotta give them space. You mentioned about them giving them room. Opportunities are gonna come.
Oh yeah.
And things are going to happen. Your child might not handle it or feel too pressured to be able to handle that situation, and they're giving them change, giving them games, giving them new sneakers, giving them new clothes.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's one of the clues, when they have things that you didn't buy them, and you're not, and you know they don't have no money, or they shouldn't have any money because they're not working. So where are they getting these things? Right. So and so gave it to me. No one is that no one is that friendly. All right, no one is that friendly. The fourth trait is the money maker. The money maker is a characteristic a person can have that that a person with deep pockets want to buy. And I actually seen a flyer that said that this person was willing to spend $100,000 on a 12-year-old white girl with blonde hair.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
They became very motivated to snatch a girl that fits that characteristic. I'm going to go into that characteristic a little more when I talk about conspiracy theories relating to organ harvesting. I haven't forgotten about that. But I just wanted to go into the traits. So if you fit a characteristic, that could be a reason why they pick you as a victim.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the fifth one is drug abuse. So if you're if you get high a lot and you tend to go to high dens and get high, you get high among strangers, you'll pass out, there's a good chance you'll wake up and you're not where you're not where you fell asleep at, you know. So those are the 5 traits. Well, another trait I want to mention is the insecure. So if your child has a tendency to be shy and to portray that, like, they don't see themselves as beautiful, they don't see themselves as appealing, and someone says, wow, you're so beautiful, and you're like, oh my God, who me? They use that as, this is who I'm interested in, to lure them into trafficking, because this is someone that I can manipulate and control. That's how they see that.
Yes,
now, I train a lot of young girls martial arts, and we do have the talk about what happens at the mall when some guy who's like dreamy comes to you and says you are so beautiful. What would be your response? I wanted to know what their response was. And now I don't want them to be rude, because maybe he's just a regular guy that thinks they're cute, but they still need to have their red flag go up. And what I tell them to say is, thank you very much. My father thinks so too. He's right over there. And then just point to some strange man, but let them think that you're not in the mall by yourself. And even if they watch you or monitor you, they're like, well, she's too smart, she's too sassy, she's not someone that we can manipulate. She's going to take too much work. So always take that into consideration. Any type of predators, look for the weakest of the herd. That's what it is. So it's a person they can manipulate, control, and give the least amount of fight. And so what our jobs are as martial arts instructors is to change the sheep into sheepdogs, okay? So that we're not just following the herd and waiting to be displaced and doing what everyone else is doing, or don't think violence exists and trying to keep our head in the sand. What a sheepdog does the same thing, go to work, pay their bills, good individuals, but also understands violence and address violence with violence. And that type of demeanor is what the wolves avoid, because they know that they're going to give them a good fight.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we're going to
breathe.
I know, I was like, I said all that. Because you know what, we're running out of time, and I was like, yes, I got like a whole arsenal of toys over here. I want to show you how to defend yourself with. So I want to make sure I have time for that.
And it's so much information. I'm gonna have to bring you back for part 2. I know you got a plethora of information to share, but I definitely want you to put the icing on the cake with that, the moves and the
Oh
the
yeah, that's
motion
what I'm
and
saying.
whatnot.
We gotta talk all
Yeah.
this bad stuff. We gotta talk about empowering how we
Yes.
are in
Yes, but I
control,
want to talk about though, Grandmaster, in that though, because you mentioned a lot in those
Yeah.
traits, and I want the parents to understand we don't want to cut our child's childhood off or
Yeah.
make them feel they can't because of
Right.
what's going on, but it's a reality. And we want to be able to we can't compare 2021 to 1980. Can't. You
No.
can't compare 2021 to 19 or 2005. You can't, it's not even
Exactly.
a close thing. When I was growing up, I was able to leave my front door open.
This is
Yeah.
2015.
See,
You understand? And
it's not the same.
2019, that's a 205 increase.
And Grandmaster,
205% increase.
think about 90% of men who purchase someone to have sex with in regards to sex trafficking or even the organ harvesting factor too. But 90% of the men who go out there and prey on young girls and boys, clarity, these men, 90% of them are married with children.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and careers, because they got to have deep pockets.
yes.
So they have careers.
And you had a man who had a whole island. This man had a whole island.
So let's, now that we're talking about the island, let's talk about two conspiracy theories. Okay.
Yes.
That and when I say conspiracy theory, meaning I haven't received documentation to say it's accurate, but I believe it is. That's why I'm giving the attention to it, and then you can do your own research. So remember when I told you about a moneymaker, which you have to have a certain characteristic that makes them want to target you. And one of that is melanin. Okay. And okay, what is melanin? Melanin is basically it's actually a function that protects, absorbs, it protects, it absorbs ultra rays, it protects from toxins and injuries, and it basically, everybody has melanin. You can tell what somebody has a lot more melanin than others by the color of their skin, eyes, and hair.
Yes, ma'am.
So the darker their skin, eyes, and hair, the more melanin they have. But everybody has it, but some people have it more than others.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Melanin is a molecule, and basically not only does it absorb the UV rays and protects us from the sun, it also keeps our skin healthy and keeps it elastic and firm. So basically it prevents aging. The person with more melanin will tend to look 10 years younger than a person with less melanin because their cells do not turn over as often. All the cells turn over, but they don't turn over as often. Okay. And during the Vietnam, okay, every time a soldier was killed, they did an autopsy. The United States government did an autopsy. And they found that dark-skinned African-American soldiers that were killed during the Vietnam War had a larger and more pronounced pineal gland than those who did not have a large amount of melanin.
Yes, ma'am.
And they realized it had something to do with melanin. And that, wow, let's do some research on this. This is interesting. And what they found is that it's like it has electrical properties that removes harmful free radicals, and harmful free radicals is what causes diseases. It's basically a DNA repairer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's like the fountain of youth.
Yes.
They figured out, according to conspiracy theory, how to extract melanin from a person's skin. Of course, a person who has a lot of melanin, and it is valued per ounce. What is it, $350 an ounce or something like that? Which is more than anything that's, platinum,
gold, uranium. It's more than all of those.
Valued higher than anything else.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what would be the motivation of who they would kidnap for melanin?
Yeah, melanin.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
The second conspiracy theory,
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm saying conspiracy theory, is something called adrenochrome.
Yes.
Okay. Adrenochrome is a liquid substance that you can draw out of a person's blood that is filled with adrenaline.
Mm.
In order for a person to have adrenaline in their blood, you have to terrorize, torture, or scare them to such a level that they release this from the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland will release up to 50 hormones when you're under stress.
Yes, ma'am.
And one of those is adrenaline. And so to get the adrenaline, you have to probably torture or terrorize this person.
There's a movie out here for you all that are watching. There's a perfect prime example of what she's saying right now. Netflix, Redbox, whatever. Check out a movie called The Dark Tower. This, what she is saying right now, both the melanin factor and the gland, the fear, they feed off of our children's fear. So in that, you wonder why the school system is the way it is, right? You wonder why children are coming up missing so much now. Why? Because they're taking things out of our bodies, internally, outside, and they're using these things for experimental purposes or whatever the case may be to help people live longer. Okay, so I want you all to go check out The Dark Tower as she breaks this information down, and have your children while it's clean. It's
what
nothing
is
bad.
That movie? Is it called Monsters Inc., that animated movie where the monsters go into the closet? Yeah, so
yes.
This is a real life Monsters Inc.
Yes.
/ Dracula situation.
Yes.
What we were talking about with the organ harvesting and melanin extracting, that's the Frankenstein situation. So let me just finish telling you a really important part of the adrenochrome. Okay, the adrenochrome is more potent when it comes from a child 10 and younger. So they would do this to children and drain them dry. Now, the average body has, maybe a child maybe has 4 liters, an average adult has 5 liters of blood. And if you lose 40% of that, you will die. So they are draining them dry.
Wow.
What they're using them for is, of course, like a fountain of youth, but it's also an incredible high. And you have to have deep, deep pockets to purchase this, and it's quite addictive.
And so that explains a lot.
So you can understand the disturbingness of this. That when I'm outside with my grandchildren, I'm like this, like who's coming too close, and I'm already, all paranoid, and because of I understand what is happening out there. And
you have a question, Grandmaster. You have a question in the chat as well. Somebody's asking you a question in regards to what you're speaking on and how to spell it. You see it?
You ready? Adrenochrome is ADRENOCHROME, and I'm gonna spell it again. Okay. ADRENOCHROME. And I remember that hearing, because there's a internet, and then there's a black net, and then there's a gray net. And and I remember there were a group of officers, hardcore police officers, not even police officers, they were maybe Naval SEAL and whatever. They were watching a video of what they were doing to a child, and they couldn't finish watching the video. So you have to understand that there's information that you're getting or things that you don't want to see, and you want to be careful how dark and how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go. And you definitely want to be careful you don't have draw attention to yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because you know, and I think um, Danielle and I, we talked about, we're not mentioning names. We're not, you know what I'm saying? We're just mentioning facts and just trying to do as much as that we can do to save as many people as we can save.
Yes, and that too highlights, and you all understanding why we're kind of connecting these things together. They all mesh together in regards to human trafficking, in regards to the missing of our children. You go into Walmart and they're on the wall. You know why we don't really get reported as often on the news? Because they can't find you. They're not trying to find you. They're gonna put you as a missing or runaway, make it easier for them, less paperwork to be able to deal with, because you're already on a boat or a flight or somewhere in a basement already being occupied. Also, number two, Grandmaster, you mentioned about that and made me think about when the coronavirus first hit, and a lot of people were, you know, because you can't go visit your loved one. You can't go in the hospital and sit with your loved one.
Yes.
They say she transitioned, he transitioned.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No funeral.
Nope.
Then
Nobody.
come to find out it's doctors, conspiracy theories. Again, there's doctors who are coming up saying they're hiding people's bodies in the basement, taking the melanin, taking the organs. Yeah. Experiment, right? COVID-19 vaccines. The whole thing with Trump, when Trump did what he did in separating the families, he put the children in concentration camps in Texas. Organ harvesting, melanin extraction, things are happening, breeding. You got 12-year-old girls who come up pregnant. How? And it's a children's jailhouse or it's a children's area. How she get pregnant?
Yeah.
Right? So you have police, you have these guards going in there tampering with the children. So it's a lot that goes on right in front of us, you all, but we don't put our eye on it because it's not affecting you at that moment. You think.
Yes. Yes.
But it's damaging our society. It's damaging our household. Our children are affected more than you understand. Grandmaster, go ahead.
And I mean, how many 300,000 children are they going to keep finding? You know what I'm saying? Until it leads to somebody in your neighborhood or somebody in your child's school.
Or you.
But it's but so many children. And this is, again, let me say, this is not a black and white thing. This is everybody is affected. Everybody is affected. You give them an opportunity. So, you know, one of the things we talked about is being alert and aware. One of the trafficking stories that actually affected me was a shy girl in high school who was being friended by a popular girl who took 2 weeks to encourage her to go to a party, which ended up not being a party. It was where the abductors were. And she got $500 for the girl. And they eventually was able to rescue the girl, so she was able to tell her story. And that's how we're able to find out what they're doing. Yes. We have 10 minutes left. So if I could just kind of use this 10 minutes to
10 minutes.
Just to show what I'm really good at, you know, which is not this information. I just do research so I could give this information to you. But I'm not an advocate to guns and knives, and I don't have a problem with women learning how to shoot guns and learning how to handle knives. But if you're carrying these things, make sure you know how to use it, because if you don't, it will be used against you. And that's include mace and all the other stuff. So what I like to do is teach people to how to defend themselves with items that they already have access to. So I'll start off with a cell phone, okay? And you would hold a cell phone in defense the way you would hold it if you were on the phone, okay? And just remember, you can attack somebody vertical or horizontal. So if you hit here, you know, so I would, and I'm just hitting you. I hit you 5 times and you didn't know it, okay? Because I'm gonna go right into the areas, and then I could even use the tip, dig in the eye. I can hit down to the groin. Yeah, that's my favorite. But it is something he didn't think that he needed to take from me that I would use against him. I could even use it how to disarm a blade. You know, how he comes at me with a blade, disarm, pop. So, so here's the cell phone. I have a couple of things, so I'm gonna go fast if that's okay. A pen, how I would hold the pen is have the not the tip, but the end with my thumb, and then I just hit. You see how my hands go fast, because that's how I'm not giving you a chance to even say ouch. All right, I'll go after the eyes. I'll go right here, the throat. I'm not going to go here because that's a death blow. I'll go in the ears. I know you have to still be careful. And you can still, and if you notice, I'm always using two hands. I'll go here, eye and whatever. And that's how to use the pen. Just keep in mind too, if you don't have any apparatuses, you can use your breath just by coughing. Okay, it could be that distraction. Like if he's choking you and you're coughing, it's like, oh man. And then that's just enough for you to stick your hand in his eye, pop him in the head, elbow him, knee him in the groin, and do a couple of those things. Don't just say, oh wow, this worked, and take a selfie. You know what I'm saying? Don't be doing
put on world star, right?
Yeah, right. Don't feel like all the cops.
And the key thing in that too, you all, if you are ever put in a position or a situation where you're in having to defend yourself, the key component for any woman or even for men, the key is to get away. Yes. Don't try to be Wonder Woman on spot or She-Ra, learn a new technique on YouTube. Okay, you try. But the whole goal is to be able to do what you have to do to be able to get away. Yell fire, help, something to be able to get attention from somebody. Now, many times I've seen people who are under attack or things have happened and we ignore it. Dang, you see that? Dang. And we watch it as entertainment. If someone is in distress, it's our job as human beings and responsibility to help someone who's in distress. Call 911, call someone. Don't just sit back and watch a person be attacked and you go home and eat your hamburger helper and watch TV as if nothing ever happened. Don't do that.
But also us as the victim, don't be afraid to say help. Can somebody help me while you're whipping his ass? Excuse my expression. I'm sorry.
You do it.
So here's the flip flop, and this could be used as a weapon. And you don't bend down and pick it up, but if you're able to get it up and you can slap him in the face with it, pop, you hit, where you hold it. I like to hold it with the back and hold it with the arch. So I'm right in the middle. So I can hit here and slap at the same time. And I mean, you can do some nice, you can go right to the throat and slap the out of it. Okay. Moving on to a hairbrush. All right. I love the hairbrush because you ever got scraped with it in the face? You scrape his face, you hit him in the eye, hit him in the throat. You know what I'm saying? You could do so much with him. I have so much fun with the hairbrush. All right. You also, if you have perfume, you can spray it in his eye. All right. After you spray it in his eye, elbow him, pop him up the nose and make a run for it.
That's right.
Okay. Anyway, then the shoe. All right, with heels, pop him in the eye, pop him in the throat. You could even hit him here. Even after, you do all you have to do, you could hit him in the groin, different parts. And you notice I'm still talking. If he's really tall, it's called cut down the tree. Hit him up, hit him in the groin. As he comes down, pop him in the face. Okay.
Yes, my father always taught me, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
If the comb or a pick, dig it up his nose. You know what I'm saying? You could pop him in the eye, dig him up his nose, because these are soft tissues that can tear. All right. And also rake his face. So if you notice, I'm doing the same motions that I would do with a blade. I'm using it with this. I'm staying close to the body. So I'm not going, make it. So I'm not going all the way out. I'm going in. And I'm constantly hit. And I work my way up and work my way down. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just making sure that all my motions are effective. That's really what's important. This is called your warrior, or we call it Kubaton. It's a keychain. If it has a point, then it'll be confiscated at the airport. But it is legal. And you can hit with the keychain and hit with that hit. And so you can do all you want to do and control the key with the thumb and still do the damage that you need to do.
Yes, ma'am.
So things like this, you can create a hole here, the carotid arteries. Well, okay, I'll stop with that. If you do have a scarf and you're able to take your scarf off, and you can wrap it around his neck. You can also use it to wrap around the knife, disarm, and use it as a flare that distracts him and then hit him. Okay. So what I like to do is let women know that you want to shock them. So if I got a hat on, okay, and I'm in a situation, I can hit him in the head and pop him right here. This is hard. This will hurt.
Yes,
okay. So this is the distraction, and change and hit him here. All right. And then keep in mind, just because you have the hairbrush doesn't mean you have to just hit him with the hairbrush. I could pop him here, hit, elbow, just keep going. And then when you finish, brush your hair.
Done. Just like that.
Okay. Make sure you look,
Yes.
Yes. But you got to think outside the box. If he has facial hair, oh my God. Now I had a party in my head, okay? Because I'm going to grab that. And if he is heavier and has a chin that draws, I'll grab the jaw, okay? Grab the jaw, dig up the nose. So I'll use his body as a tool of a defense. Yes, and I don't have high nails. I don't have a lot of nails. I have the little tiny nails that all I'm focusing on is collecting DNA. That's all I'm doing. Let's see, what body parts are you giving me today, sir?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So
and that's wonderful.
Keep in mind that abductors try to pull you off balance. Okay. So these are, you're defending yourself while you're either being lifted or while you're being dragged down. And so if he's pulling me down, okay, then that's better for me, easier for me to punch down the groin or punch up the groin. Just depending on, I'm just going with him. He pulled me down. He pulled me up. You understand? So I am adjusting to his flow. I'm not going against him. I can't compete against his upper body waist, against my upper body waist. I can only flow with it. My hands are smaller. My hands are faster. My hands will get to areas that he would not expect my hands to go. So remember, the eye, I blow in the eye. That's all the distraction I need for me to, I don't know about running away because I think he'll be more pissed off. And it depends on how far I am from my escape route. But if I'm not that far, if I blow and run, yes, I'll do that. But if I am far, I have to assume he's going to catch me and it's going to be worse. So I have to at least keep hitting him and hit him in primal areas. Not here, not in the gut. Hit him in areas that will debilitate him. Not necessarily lethal areas, but will debilitate him.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think I
breathe. Okay. But I want you all to understand too, with all the information that she's sharing, I want her to give her information here shortly on her training. If you're in her area, you can be able to join in and get some information from her. And also for me, for VSK, with my teacher, Grandmaster Odette Russell. We want to be able to have you all get something. Because the most important thing about that is the confidence. But the more you train, get your cardio, because if you can't run from here to the door, you got. So you want to be able to build yourself and build your cardio up and your confidence that when you do these things in your mind, you have to understand either I die here or I die with them. Either way, it has to be a fight, has to start here to be able to protect yourself and your children to prevent those things from happening. So Grandmaster, can you please share your information? Those who may have questions, your email, whatever your contact information may be. I'm sure you'll get some more phone calls for sure.
So my name is Sidagoo. You should see it down there, Sidagoo. You could inbox me also on Facebook, Odette Russell, Odette Russell, Russell. My website is under construction, but it's drodetterussell.net. Odette Russell, ODETTERUSSELL. That was a little fast. Also, I'm with SWAM Martial Arts Academy, SWAM. Martial arts is not like riding a bike. If you don't practice it, you will lose it.
Yes, ma'am.
But the information that we give you is just enough to maybe save your life. The key is you have to be 100% committed once you know that this is serious. This is not something you do because somebody called you a bee or because somebody was sleeping with your man. There are 85% of women in jail because of stupid stuff they did following, not with men. You know what I'm saying? So this is something to save your life, that you will not go to the second location. You are not going to the second location. They are going to the second location, which is either the hospital, the jail, or the morgue. But you are not going to the second location. So just remember that.
Awesome. Love it. Yes, ma'am. And for
I
me,
love you guys.
Grandmaster, I love you too. But Grandmaster, my teacher, Grandmaster Abdul Aziz, who has a very great relationship with her as well, and her husband, they grew up and built up and came to a point to where they are now grandmasters, and they're teaching and sharing the knowledge that they have gained. And my teacher, Grandmaster Abdul Aziz, says it's not if it happens, it's when it happens. And when it happens, are you going to be ready? So training, we train every Tuesday and Thursday. And also we have a women's class on Saturdays at 12 o'clock noon. Everything is done Zoom because of COVID-19. You can text 74121, text VSK to 74121. For sisters on Saturday, text the word sisters to 74121 to get a link to be able to join in, and let's train. Get an idea of how to be able to work it. Apply what she's giving you all to help protect you and your children and your families and our communities. And with this information, it will save and change your life. Grandmaster Odette Russell, you are amazing. I love you dearly. I have to bring you back again to be able to have a part 2 of this conversation, because there's so much information we didn't even touch that I want you to be able to share with the world. They have to hear what you have to say, and the information is needed. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I am always honored to do anything with you. You are my girl. You are amazing. You are the doer, not the talker, as I said. And I appreciate everybody that joined us and took the time. I hope that we gave you some insight, not just of concern, but also of hope.
Yes,
okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I'll call you later.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. You all have a wonderful day. My name is Danielle X here on National Network View. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. Leave comments at the bottom. Be able to share your information. Definitely will get back with you in regards to that. But this is Danielle X with National Network View. You all have a wonderful evening. Be safe and stay strong. Peace.